Language Development by the Speech Therapy Department of the Direction du Programme Jeunesse CIUS de l'Estrie-Chute. Language is useful everywhere, all the time. It helps us to communicate our needs, to ask for help, to understand what is asked of us, to express our thoughts, to make friends, and to learn. Every child develops his language skills at his own pace. Understanding your child's language development will allow you to help him progress at every stage of his journey. In this video, we will introduce you to basic aspects of child development, the major stages of language comprehension development, and the major stages of expressive language development. Language development among children follows 5 major principles. A child learns through his 5 senses, based on his everyday experiences, through interactions with his parents, family, and significant others, in a comprehensive manner, and when he is interested and having fun. From birth, a child discovers his environment through his 5 senses. He hears, sees, touches, feels, and tastes things. All of these tangible everyday experiences stimulate his senses. They are all opportunities to learn and to develop his skills. Having a bath, holding and eating a fruit, going outdoors, piling blocks, handling a book, listening to a song. Baby loves contact with loved ones. He is interested in their faces and answers them with a smile. Then he discovers his voice and has fun making sounds to attract his parents' attention. He enjoys listening to their responses. He establishes his first interactions. It's thanks to everyday encounters that the child develops his language skills. The various developmental aspects form a comprehensive whole. The child develops language at the same time as his motor, cognitive, social, and emotional skills. Let's take an example. A child sadly waves goodbye to his big brother who is leaving for school. The child learns social behavior and develops his motor skills. By attempting to say goodbye and pronounce his brother's name, the child is practicing his language abilities. When he sniffles, his parent names his emotion. You're sad. You miss your brother. Emotional development is therefore activated. The child then decides to draw to change his mind. He is developing his autonomy. Throughout childhood, all learning is interrelated. Finally, this principle applies both to adults and to children. We learn better when we're having fun. A child will be extremely sensitive to pressure and to the expectations of those around him. He is more receptive and learns better in an agreeable and relaxed environment. These 2 developmental principles will guide you in finding ways to assist your child in language development. Language can be divided into 2 major components, comprehension and expression. A child must first understand words before he can express them. Understanding or comprehension means deducing the meaning of words that you hear. A child must learn the relationship between words and their meaning. An intelligent child may nonetheless have difficulty understanding language. If your child has difficulty understanding, it's not because he's not smart. Intelligence encompasses many other skills than language. Oral comprehension includes many elements. For example, understanding words in different categories. Words denoting objects, people, actions, and concepts, as well as descriptive words such as soft, empty, and heavy. Understanding questions such as where, with whom, why. Understanding instructions such as give me your glass, pick up your cars, or put on your PJs. Finally, understanding deductions and reasoning. For example, a child understands that his parent wants him to wash his hands when the parent says, "You know what you have to do when you get home." The child builds his comprehension using concrete clues, such as others' gestures, the objects he sees, and given situations. For example, it's time to play outside. The child hears his parent pronounce a series of sounds. H, a, t. He sees the hat that his parent is giving him while mimicking the action of putting it on his head. The child associates the sounds h, a, t with the garment that he must wear to play outside. The child learns a lot through the information provided from these clues. When his language develops properly, the child will manage to understand what others are saying without needing gestures or objects for support. Basically, without clues, he understands enough to function in day-to-day life. The child passes this stage between the ages of 2 and 3. However, even if the child becomes increasingly autonomous, he will always need clues to learn new words. With time, the child understands increasingly longer sentences and more abstract notions. He builds on his knowledge to acquire even more knowledge. At around 4 to 5 years of age, a child becomes capable of understanding a lengthy instruction such as, "Before you wash your hands, put your boots away and hang your coat up properly on the hanger." Now let's examine a second element, expressive language. Children and even adults are able to express themselves without using words. They can communicate through gestures, eye contact, and facial expressions. That is called nonverbal language. Smiles, eye contact, and gestures are the first tools babies use to communicate. These nonverbal methods enable them to communicate even as they grow up. Nonverbal language does not delay the onset of verbal language. Quite the contrary. It helps the child to interact with others, which will help him to learn verbal language. Verbal language refers to several elements: sounds, words, sentences, and conversational skills. Of course, the child learns to pronounce words. He also learns how to connect words to build sentences. He will learn to use nouns, verbs, articles like the or a, and small function words like at, with, or and. The child also develops his conversation skills. He needs to show interest in his conversational partner. Look at him, ask questions, and listen to the response. He learns to express his ideas and to continue discussing the same topic. Let's see how verbal language develops with the help of Adam. A genuine daredevil, Adam often gets injured. Growing up, he uses various expressions to explain that he has injured himself. When he was 1 year old, little Adam stretched out his arms and called, "Mommy!" He made his first requests using one word at a time, accompanied by gestures. A 1-year-old child attracts the attention of others and enjoys interacting with them. When he was 1.5 years old, Adam combined words and could say, "Ow, dear," pointing at his knee. A child that age is able to properly point with his index finger. He also looks at his parent and shows him what he is interested in or what attracts his attention. Children who are 18 months old use 50 words on average and start to combine them. The minimum expected is 18 words at 18 months. Pronunciation does not have to be exact to be considered a word. For example, a child might say nana to denote a banana. Nana will then be considered a word. Age 2 is the stage where we witness an explosion of words. The child understands new words just about every day. That enables him to create more word combinations. Adam combines words more precisely, which results in Adam Bobo Weg. Then, between ages 2 and 3, there is an explosion of sentences. At 2.5 years, Adam makes longer sentences, such as Me Bobo on my weg. His sentence includes prepositions like on and possessives like my. At age 3, the child makes complete sentences. For example, Adam might say, I hurt my knee today. Wook. His sentence includes I and different verb tenses, past, present, and future. At age 3, children are usually understood 75% of the time by strangers. They become tiny conversation partners who love to share their ideas. Little Adam is growing up. At age 4, he talks about his accident, saying, Yesterday, I, I, I fell down and squashed my knee on my bike pedal. His sentences are becoming longer and his ideas are developing. He might hesitate when speaking. These transitory speech hesitations are common between ages 3 and 4. Speech hesitations need to be monitored if they persist or worsen. If they do, speak to a speech therapist. She will be able to determine whether your child is stuttering or not. To learn more about speech hesitations and stuttering, view our video dedicated to this topic. At age 5, Adam expresses himself like a big boy. He provides lots of information and manages to structure his ideas rather well. When I was at camp, I squashed my knee on my bike because I was riding too fast. It is normal for pronunciation not to be perfect at age 5. The child still needs to master certain difficult sounds like R or J, as well as cluster sounds such as GL in glue or TW in twin. But despite his pronunciation errors, the child is well understood when he speaks, even by strangers. One notes that a child who is growing up learns increasingly specific words. In our example, Adam began talking about his leg and later about his knee. He also began talking about himself using his first name before omitting it and then replacing it with me and finally I. A child also makes longer and more complete sentences and develops his ideas. Language develops naturally. However, that is easier said than done for some children. They may need help to go through language acquisition and developmental stages. So what can you do at home? To help your child develop his language skills, you must first observe how he communicates. We invite you to consult the leaflets on language and communication development available at the following website. You can situate your child more specifically regarding the expected competency level for his age category. You can also learn about the upcoming developmental stages. Every child develops at his own unique pace. Nonetheless, there is an expected minimal skill level, which indicates normal development. The leaflets, therefore, provide alarm signals that indicate when it might be time to consult a speech therapist. You can also view the video entitled Helping My Child Develop Language Skills. We will introduce simple methods to accompany your child in language acquisition and development. We also invite you to view the video entitled Child Speech Hesitations and Stuttering if you have any concerns regarding your child in this matter. For further information, do not hesitate to consult the following resources on language development among children aged 0 to 5 years. Thank you for your time and attention.